It's Monday, which means it's Inside LAFC Podcast Live every Monday at 12:30 Pacific time on LAFC YouTube, LAFC Facebook. Spread the word, get involved, get in the comment section, leave a comment, a question, a complaint, what you will. And we also remind you, Marcelo Balboa joining us, laughing at my jokes, which he tends to do. We'll introduce him in a moment, but I do want to remind you to like and subscribe, like the video, subscribe to LAFC's channels here on our social media pages. We appreciate the support. It helps us get the word out. As you can see, we spare no expense to bring in the heavy hitters of soccer in this country. Not that we paid him anything, but there he is, Marcelo Balboa, former U.S. men's national team and MLS great and Club Leon great. Thanks for joining us, Cello. Good to see you.
Thanks for having me, buddy. I appreciate it.
I've known Cello a long time, and he's salt of the earth. For better or worse, he'll tell you how he sees it. And we will talk a little bit about Gold Cup and USA Mexico later. So if you have any questions for Cello, he will straight shoot you.
Bring him on, baby. Bring him on. Bring him on.
He's ready. He was there with Univision calling it. Obviously, Mexico winning the Gold Cup. We're a year away from the World Cup as well. We have a lot to talk about for LAFC as well. Even though they didn't have a game on Saturday, they'll have two games at home this week, Wednesday against Colorado, Saturday against FC Dallas. And that's a good place to jump off from, Cello, because you were part of the broadcast team for the Saturday game in Austin. And I saw your social media, and we were at that, when we're at Austin, there's that hotel, and I recognized it, and it was just inundated. And it was bad in Austin, but it's been bad all over Central Texas as well. Yeah. And obviously, we think a lot about everything that's going on in that part of the world.
Yeah, man. Let me go with thoughts and prayers with everybody in Austin and Texas because of all the kids and unfortunate incidents that have happened with the flooding. So we send our prayers to their families, and hopefully they can find, not recover. They can find a lot of the people that are missing.
Yeah, it's an astronomical list. It's worse than you could imagine, and it's just a reminder of nature. And we're happy in the sense that LAFC were able to get out, and Marcelo and the broadcast team. But that'll continue on. And we, being an LAFC podcast, look towards those topics. That's why you're here. We say hi to Sebastian, H. Marie joining us, Jonathan, wishing Marcelo a very happy welcome as well. This will back end the schedule. We don't have a date or time for Austin FC rescheduled, but LAFC. And look, if you're a player and you're in LAFC's position, you've already had 3 rescheduled games because of the Club World Cup. I think there was a rescheduled game still on the works from the CONCACAF Champions Cup. Now you have one here. What do you think about when you know you don't really see the schedule ahead, but you know that the back end of the season is going to be packed?
You know, I'm going to say this. I think MLS did a great job because it rained for 3 days. And when I took that video, that was only about a half hour of pouring down rain and how flooded everything got so quickly. So I think when you're looking out for the safety of the players, when you're looking out for the safety of the fans that have to drive to see this game, MLS made a great call. They called it at 3:30. They're like, well, we postpone it. We'll move it. And if I'm a coach, I'm like, you want to play, but when you have a Wednesday, Saturday game, Austin has a Tuesday night Open Cup quarterfinal. So you know what? I think maybe for the benefit of both teams, providing that there were going to be no injuries, but you never know when a field's that wet, I think MLS made the right call.
And just being a player and taking us in there, you're in the hotel, you're obviously frustrated, but realize that this is the right choice because you can't play in these conditions. It's obviously you're fatigued because of travel. So LAFC have to make up this game and they have to travel back to Austin. That's the way it goes. How do you prepare for what lies ahead, knowing that you haven't had the wear and tear of a game, but you have had some wear and tear and the disappointment of not playing?
Yeah, I think, Max, nowadays it's a lot easier because you don't have to fly commercial. You're not trying to get all your players like we did quickly on a plane to get them home to rest. They jumped on the charter. They were home Saturday night, more than likely. You would know. They're probably home Saturday, so they got Sunday, Monday, Tuesday to get ready for Wednesday. So listen, like I said before, I know it's difficult as a player. You want to play, but you also don't want to play in a condition where the ball's not really bouncing well, the ball's skipping a lot, it's getting stuck. So, again, they've got 3 days to prepare for Colorado and 3 days to prepare for FC Dallas.
You were able to get out Saturday, correct? Because even the rain's coming down, you're still able to get wheels up from.
Yeah, MLS did a great job. Emma did a great job, and Kristen. They called us up really quick at 3:30, and they said, we want to try to get you guys out tonight because it's going to keep coming down. So they quickly got on the flights. I was out of there by 6 o'clock. Jorge was out at 8, and I was able to get to Houston and relax and get ready for the Gold Cup final. And Jorge got home right around midnight, 1 o'clock. But they were fantastic how quickly they responded.
Glad you say that about MLS because, look, it's 30 teams. There's 15 games going on. You have to worry about everyone, but it's not a huge staff, but they are on top of it. They wear a lot of hats.
Yeah.
So we appreciate everyone who does that on a regular basis. This is Inside LAFC Podcast. We're joined by Marcelo Balboa as we're going to talk about what's coming up on Wednesday this week. Talk a little bit about the Austin FC game. We'll talk about the Gold Cup. Some folks with some questions. David, what's up, guys? Diego Luna to LAFC. Let's make it happen. We'll see. I don't know. He's going to be in demand.
Am I supposed to comment on that? Am I supposed to?
I'm just reading some of the comments. Oh, and Sebastian, we are minus 12% behind in the season. We can't be postponing more games. They'll have with the Austin FC game. So it is July the 7th. And by the way, your heart aches even more because it was July 4th weekend when all this happened in Texas. You know, people are preparing to get. It's just, I mean, the more you think about it, the worse you get.
Yeah.
As Marcelo ties his shoe.
I got to plug in my computer. Hold on. I got to plug in my computer.
I'll give you some of the Jonathan saying some nice things about Balboa. Sebastian, I looked at it. There are 20 games from July 7th to October the 18th. So you're averaging about not 2 games a week, but pretty close. Yeah. And Leagues Cup, which is going to start on July the 29th. It's a new format. It's going to be really USA-Mexico centric. Yeah. If they advance it, they could face 2 or 3 more games. But we'll worry about that. But there's certainly more games on the horizon. If you've had this many games postponed, you have to assume there's going to be another rescheduling at some point.
No, but listen, Max, I know people want their games. I understand that. I really do because I'm a fan. I want to watch games too. But when you talk about, and they weren't in Austin and we were in Austin, we saw the streets flooded. When you talk about the safety of your players, which are paying millions of dollars, you're the fans who are paying a prime ticket to go watch you play, they're more important. You know what I mean? To make sure that they're not in danger, they're not getting stuck in water. So I understand everybody wants to play the game, but when it comes to pure safety, I think they made the right call. And you guys in LAFC and the MLS will find a way, and it could be the last game of the year. It may not matter. You know what I mean? At that point, you may be in first place, second. You're already in a playoff solidified spot. So, you know, the important thing is win the games you've got to worry about now, and that's Colorado and Dallas.
Colorado was a makeup game. That was originally, when was that? That was May 31st. So it's going to push so short rescheduling because of LAFC's participation in the Club World Cup. Getting some comments about the Luna to LAFC. Alan goes, Ordaz is better than Luna. David responds, how about Ordaz and Luna together? Pilar, Gilberto Mora and Diego Luna to LA. This is crazy.
Are you willing to make Diego Luna a designated player to bring to LAFC? Because that's what it's going to take. It's not going to take 200,000, 300,000. It's going to take $1 million or $2 million. Are you willing to give up a designated spot for Luna? That's the question.
All right. You discuss amongst yourselves. Pilar says Gilberto Mora. I think he's at Tijuana, right? There's going to be hands off for that guy. He's 16. Oh.
They were talking last night that he won't be at Tijuana much longer. And I tell you what, that kid's the real deal. He showed up last night. He played, and what a good player for being 17 years old.
Oh, man. Yeah, phenomenal. Yeah. And so if you get a chance to do a road trip to Tijuana, maybe check him out.
Yeah.
Me and Chella will join you. We got some nice eating spots.
Yes.
From Christian Becerril, who joined us on Black and Gold Insider. So check that out. We'll talk more about that. Sebastian going, would we take Raul Jimenez? Of course. But he's not going. I think he's out of contract, but he stays in the Premier League. Why are you laughing?
Well, because you just got rid of Giroud, so I don't. He's out of your league. I'm not sure we're. Are we talking about LAFC? There's no one out of their league, so come on.
There is no one out of their league, but you have to be savvy. You're going to probably get one big guy. I think Raul Jimenez probably thinking about MLS, whether it's LAFC or somewhere else, but I think he has another contract in him in the Premier League. And a wonderful tribute to his former teammate, Diogo Jota. This is the big sports story. Obviously a tragic few days in our sport. But he was teammates with him at Wolves and had that nice tribute, had his jersey ready. Very nice. So we'll see. But you guys we'll talk about the secondary market, which opens July 24th. Throw it out there. Because one thing we've known about LAFC, they'll push you back when some of these, when you say, well, who's coming here? Gareth Bale, Giorgio Chiellini.
Yeah.
All this. This is what this club does. And I'm sure they're looking to make a big splash. We mentioned the Colorado game being rescheduled. So here we go. We usually preview games on Inside LAFC podcast. So we'll do a little review to preview. Wednesday, 7:30 p.m. on MLS Season Pass. Just 2 games, both rescheduled. Inter Miami's playing New England. So go to Apple TV. You get a nice doubleheader on Wednesday with regards to what's going on. You can see Club World Cup. I believe that game's earlier in the day, PSG Real Madrid. So watch a lot. See if you can get a little summer break from your bosses. So 2 big home games here. LAFC have 4 games in hand. So you do the math. You start saying, if they win these games, then they're right back in this thing. They're still in the playoff positions. Now, I'm not going to say they're going to win these games, but despite the disappointment of the Whitecaps, these are 2 games that they win. And, there's obviously the disappointment of the Club World Cup and the Whitecaps game is there. You can get right back in this. This is a big week. And these are 2 teams. You obviously are very close. You live in Colorado. There's posters and pictures of you all over Dick's Sporting Goods Park. You can't walk 10 steps without seeing your face. So tell us a little bit about what to expect from a team that is coming off a defeat in the Rapids.
Listen, it's not normal that we lose on 4th of July. That's the big game that we always have. And they didn't play well. Let's just be honest. They can't finish right now. They got a PK late. They got the goal. But this is a team that will create chances, but they're missing that last pass. This is a team right now that just can't find the back of the net. And when you go through a little bit of a run like this can make or break your season. Colorado's been dropping little by little because they just can't pick up that key win. That was a key win. That was a Kansas City team that was below them that they should have won at home. Kansas City has done a great job, and so has Kerry Savagnin, building that team back up, getting it motivated, getting it fit, feisty and gritty like they used to be, and they grind out a result. Colorado right now is losing a little bit of that play that they have. They sit back in that mid-block, low block, and they hit you quickly on the counterattack with Cabral or Harris. And they're running on, they're an 8-cylinder car. They're running on 6 right now because when they get in front of goal, it's like they sputter out. They can't get it in the back of the net, but it is a dangerous team that can hit you. Not as good as LAFC. They're very good in transition. We know when Bawanga goes, he's gone, or Daz goes, you know what I mean? So, but this is a team that'll fight and scratch, let you come, attack, and then they'll try to exploit you from behind.
You were preparing for LAFC. Would you envision that their front 3 will be Bawanga or Daz Martinez? Would that be the going rate? Jeremy Abobasi is also in the mix there, but we didn't see it against Austin FC, but now with Giroud moving on, we're going to see this beginning of an LAFC Mark II.
I think, a combination of those in there because Ordaz is a very good player. He can drop into the midfield, but then you got Abobasi. When you've got a guy like Maxu, you want pace so you can get in behind. So I think any form, Bawanga for sure. I think it could be Ordaz, it could be Abobasi, it could be Martinez. So the problem is they've got so many weapons, and it's a lovely thing to have if you're Steve Cherundolo, to have this many options, this much depth, and to be able to pick and choose who tactically fits better in this game. With pace, maybe you get in behind Colorado. If the team's going to play a low block, then you want a guy that can hold the ball up like Ordaz. So, I think Steve's very fortunate to be able to have created this problem on his team.
We haven't seen Ordaz since that Chelsea game, so it'll be good to see him back. I'm sure he's chomping at the bit and ready to go, and we're excited to see that. This is Inside LAFC Podcasts, live on LAFC YouTube and Facebook. We're joined by Marcelo Balboa here today. Like the video, subscribe to our LAFC channel so we can get the word out. Some comments coming in. A couple comments about Son Heung-min, who has been rumored. I don't know. We don't know, but that we could just say that would be amazing because of our Korean community. He's 32. Yes. Sure. And I would say I'd be surprised if it happened, but I wouldn't be shocked because this is LAFC.
I was going to say, you're LAFC. Why would you be surprised?
Wouldn't be surprised. Well, and there's word that him and Tottenham Hotspur are starting to begin that divorce, much like their coach. So who knows? It is, but whether it's now or down the road, I think that's on the players' radar. But we heard that about Antoine Griezmann too, so we'll see.
Well, but that's a good pickup. Listen, when you look at profiles, you have your profiles, right? Everybody, every coach, every organization has their profiles. So the profile has to be a guy that can go to goal, that's not relying on crosses. Your team is so explosive down the sides, running at players one-on-one, that you don't need a post-up player to sit in the box and wait for crosses. You need a guy who's going to be mobile, that's going to check into the midfield. You know what I mean? And there's a few players out there that fit that profile.
Indeed. And someone mentioned that he's a winger and we're looking for a 9. But remember, LAFC, it's about wingers. They could play with 3 guys up front. That's how they get their goals. The Golden Boot guys have all been wingers in the past. I didn't mention it last week, but Marlon, his loan had ended, and this is part of what LAFC has done. I think you got to give them credit because they've gotten so many loans with players as a stopgap to get a stronger roster without being financially committed and being on the hook. So Cengiz Under, Frankie Amaya's on the loan till the end of the year. Marlon Javiro, who we'll hopefully see the next few weeks, he's on a time limit here. So if it works out, then you extend it. Do you like that process? I mean, I kind of do, because it's short term, but it kind of keeps things, it gives you some options between then and now.
Yeah, you know what it is for a coach and an organization, having a player on loan, you give him a time to adapt. You know what I mean? And if he doesn't adapt, then you're not stuck on the hook for 3 years at $1 million. You know what I'm saying? So I like the fact that you bring over players on loan, let them get adapted, let them see how they do. It's just like Rafa. When you look at Navajo, he did the same thing. They brought him over on loan. Next thing you know, he started scoring goals. He got bought for $3 million. So, yeah, I'm a big fan of bigger name players coming on loan to see if they have the right attitude. 2, if they can adapt, because it's not easy adapting to MLS and the travel and the game Saturday, Wednesday, Saturday. So, yeah, I'm a big fan of the loan situation in MLS.
Yeah, and it puts the ball in the court of these coaches. You get a look, and you have to make a decision quick. And they want to keep a lot of these guys. They wanted to keep Marlon, but, the marketplace just doesn't allow that in a lot of ways, unfortunately. And sometimes it's this astronomical number these other clubs are asking for, and you got to be realistic. You got to look out for the entire roster.
Yeah, 100%.
Hey, I want to ask you about this, because I mentioned Marlon, because Soccer USA joined us. He goes, LAFC will be looking to add another center back this offseason. Should LAFC consider Andres Maxu? Plays for the Rapids. They wouldn't part ways with him. I mean, that's a starting center back.
I think Maxu's happy in Colorado. I think he fits the way Colorado wants to play quite nicely. So no, I don't see him leaving. And if they do, it's going to be a pretty nice price. Yeah. You know what I mean? Instead of, and I don't see him moving within the league. You know what I mean? I think there's a few players listening over the last few months that there are quite a few players that would like the opportunity to maybe even go on loan themselves to Europe and take a chance there and see how they can do.
But Soccer USA, I mean, Colorado are in the playoff positions they're going to be pushing. But that's a way to look at it. Maybe you look at some teams that aren't going to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
Perhaps St. Louis or Toronto. See what their roster looks like, and maybe you get a guy that makes sense, because there are going to be some teams looking to build for next season.
It depends on what you're looking for. You know, Max, there's a lot of teams that are looking for a center back. There's teams that are looking. The biggest thing I've seen in this league, talking to coaches, and because we talk to coaches every weekend, is finding that proper 6. The 6 is the biggest issue in this league. Finding a steady, solid guy that can break plays up, that can help distribute, that can combine the back line to the midfield. So I would think that, and the other one is a forward. If you have the money to spend on a forward, then goals win games, goals win championships.
H. Marie, thanks for the correction. Ordaz did come off the bench against Vancouver. Yes, see, I was thinking about it. Soccer USA, you're welcome. YouTube user, hey, Max, hook up with some tickets. See, this is what we do here. It's an outlet for everything. Inside LAFC is an outlet for everything. Let's go to the second market, which opens on July 24th. We've already talked about it here. And expectations, LAFC will be busy, just without mentioning the players. And everyone's got this dream thought, and it's worth mentioning. LAFC want guys that can help them on the field and help them in other ways. That's why Carlos Vela was brought in. It worked out. There's other guys in that sense too. So it could be a high impact guy, but just looking at positions, depth, where you think maybe, or the quantity of players, I tend to think we might see
9,
at least 2, maybe 3 players come in.
You need a 9.
Forward for sure.
Yeah, but you need a 9. You just got rid of Giroud. You need a guy that can put the ball in the back of the net. If you're going to win a championship, you've got to have a guy that's 10 plus goals and higher every year. And that's what LAFC is missing, that target player, the guy that's dangerous in the box, the guy that can turn around and spin you inside the box and score a goal. So for me, that's number 1 position. From there, I would think, you know what, because you've got Hollingshead, you've got Valencia. I would think you need another center back. One solid center back. So you have that 3-man rotation. So you're keeping your guys fresh, especially when you're going through league. Then you go through Leagues Cup. Then you go into playoffs. Games are backed up. So you're going to have a lot of games towards the end of the year. So I would think when you're looking at that, your roster and profiles and what you need, first priority would be a pure out goal scorer that can win you games, because you've already got probably the most dangerous player in this league running down the left-hand side in Bouanga. I mean, you find another guy like that and watch out.
And Bouanga, knock on wood, has been so durable and loved playing, will continue to play. What a valuable asset that is. I agree with you. You get a guy who can score goals. You find depth. They were able to get the depth with Frankie Amaya, and they went after, and we'll see with Odin Holm what happens. I believe that's another player on loan. And Kosi Tafari as a center back will get some action, but they had 5s, and Maxime Chanot's still there. I don't know if you can rely on those guys right now because one hasn't played a lot. The other one's had injuries all season. So
but I can tell you this, Max. I was in Mexico for quite a while doing the Gold Cup and stuff like that, and Bouanga's name came up quite a bit. I had quite a few players or quite a few colleagues of mine that do the games in Mexico, and they kept on bringing Bouanga up, that his name keeps floating around Club America. I mean, that's how well he played that day. That's how well they scored. So, you know what? That's the other thing. You've got players that are very desirable in Liga MX. So,
Matty Bogusz went to Liga MX, and there's that, and that's great news with that relationship going back and forth.
Yep.
And if Denny Bouanga was going to go, they would get a bigger price tag for him to go to Mexico than he would go to Europe. So,
especially Club America.
Oh, the price tag's big enough. LAFC will do it, and they'll probably be the first to tell you, but it's got to be big enough because that is the middle of everything that you have. Well, we brought up Bouanga. Let's talk about him because AllStar Game will be in Austin. Hopefully that'll be a chance to recover a lot. He is a finalist to be the captain of the AllStar team. The 4 finalists are, he's got a tall hill to win the vote here. It's Messi, Evander, who's been phenomenal, Brandon Vasquez, who is the local Austin guy, and then it's Bouanga.
Oof. You know, I think if I'm coaching a team like this, the first question is to Messi, do you want to be captain? If you don't, then I'll go somewhere else. I think Brandon Vasquez is not, I mean, he's playing for Austin. He's not having a great year. He
shouldn't be an all-star. Voted in by his coach.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. So I think it comes down to Messi, Bouanga, and Evander. But my first guess is the best player in the world. You want to be captain, it's all yours. And then from there, I think it's a toss-up because Bouanga and Evander are such good players, and they would be more than happy to be captains, and it would be a great honor for them. But I think, how do you not ask Messi first, you know what I mean, to see if he wants to be captain?
And I love that you said that, because maybe you talk to him and go, Messi, do you want to be captain? Maybe he says, let Brandon Vasquez, he's a local guy. Evander's been phenomenal. He's like your leading MVP. Let him be captain. You might see that.
Yeah.
As long as we have Messi at the All-Star Game.
Well, listen. Everything I've heard about Messi is he's not one of those selfish guys. And I think if he knew that Vasquez was going to be a starter and is, then I could see Messi saying, you should be captain. You know what I mean? We saw it when they won Leagues Cup. If you remember Leagues Cup, he took the armband off and gave it, here you go, to Yedlin. He said, you take this captain. Right. You put it on, you go get the trophy. So I could see him doing that with Brandon.
Inside LAFC podcast, live on LAFC YouTube and LAFC Facebook. You heard the voice of former U.S. men's national team great, and I mean it when I say that. One of my favorite memories, 94, Silver Dome.
Oh, yeah.
Right in the middle. That was Eric Winalda, and then you just locking it down there with Tony Miola and company. Like and subscribe. Like the video. It helps get the word out. Subscribe to LAFC, Facebook, and YouTube. Thanks for joining us, Juan Vargas. I didn't see you the last couple weeks. He was there, and he says, saludos a Marcelo Balboa. Did I say something wrong? That's right. All right. Very good. Sebastian making a good point. 49 MLS goals for Denny Bouanga. So come out on Wednesday. Come out on Saturday to see some history. 50 is a big number, especially doing it in that short window that Denny Bouanga has had here for LAFC. We're going to talk. I want to wrap it up talking about Mexico USA Gold Cup. So if you have any questions for Marcelo, he's nodding his head. Why are you nodding your head? You know what?
Let's go. Let's go.
That's right. Any update on Hugo Lloris injury? I think he should be all right, but I don't know confirmed, but we'll find out more details as we head. Again, 2 home games. LAFC takes care of business, gets 4, hopefully 6 points. They're right back in business. They have 4 games in hand. We know LAFC has not looked sharp. They haven't been able to score goals. The Club World Cup took its toll. I mean, I was talking to some of the operation people, man. They were saying about all of the logistics. It was hard. Keep in mind, Seattle and Inter Miami got to be at home, and LAFC, not making excuses, but it was a difficult spot. And then they go on their first road trip. It's been canceled. They haven't had many breaks by any means. So before we get into that, are you a fan of Hello Kitty, Cello?
A little.
And it's funny because I saw Juan Vargas put something on social media about the secondary market of Hello Kitty. Hello Kitty night is Wednesday. So I believe it's the first 10,000. Is that right? 10,000 folks that come in get that Hello Kitty plush doll, which is all the rage. It's crazy, man. We do this every year, and it's one of the biggest sensations. I would have never thought in a million years. I have people asking me, "Can you get me one of those dolls?" I go, "Hey, man, maybe one, but that's about it." So it's a hot commodity. So here we go. Hello Kitty night, Wednesday night. Come and support LAFC. They need you guys now. Let's push them through. Come to both games this week. Come to one game in particular. Spread the word. Let them hear you because they need that support. Let's talk about Mexico winning the Gold Cup. Already a great question out of the traps, and I would love to hear your answer. Cello, was that a handball?
It's a difficult question because when he's getting up, hits his plant hand. So he plants his hand onto the ball.
Sounds like you're already making.
I would like to
excuses for a defender.
No, but I'm saying I'd like to think that he's got his ball on top of the hand. It doesn't fall off. He's got his ball on the top of the hand. For me, there's a chance that I probably would have gone and reviewed that and made sure. But again, I would have thought anytime you're going down, you're able to move your hand. I know I can move my hand wherever I want. It shouldn't land on the ball. I would have thought it was a penalty kick. But if I say that, people think I'm biased because of the U.S. But I thought it was a handball.
I don't think it was the most egregious handball. So as time went by, people sending me replays and different angles, and it all looks bad in a freeze frame. So I don't. Yeah. I would say it's a handball, but I'm not going to sit here and say that's the reason the U.S.
That's not why we lost. Let's be honest.
What's the reason we lost?
Listen, they had a better team. You can sugarcoat it. Listen, I'm pissed off still. I hate losing to Mexico. And as a broadcaster working for TUDN, I get hammered all the time when Mexico beats the U.S. But to say that they dominated. First 10 minutes, Chris Richards scored. Great goal. After that, we were on our heels. We were back. They had their full team. They came out. They controlled what they needed to control. They fought back. They got into the game. The second goal was not offside because Alex Freeman got caught. Instead of pushing up, he got caught flat-footed, and he kept everybody on side. So they just played better than us that night. Simple as that.
Did you see the video of the Mexico celebration where they were doing the payaso de rodeo dance?
Yeah.
I tried to get angry, but I was like, that's pretty cool.
Listen, they haven't danced in years because we've been beating them. So you know what? For them to celebrate like they won a World Cup and a Gold Cup in CONCACAF, it just shows you how much that game meant to that Mexico team to beat the U.S. in the final. But it's okay. It's okay. You know what I mean? It is what it is. They played better. They deserve to win. But again, it's not the World Cup. But we'll see what happens in the World Cup. We'll see what groups we get put in, and we'll see who goes further.
Sir Crispy always greets everybody with whoever the co-host is, and he didn't say hello, Senor Balboa. Just me. I'm sure he'll fix it, but I'm sure he's very happy to see you. Here's a good question. USA with the fully loaded A team, and we're talking about 6, 7 starters. Pulisic, Weah,
9.
Cardoso. 9, you think?
9.
What would that look like? Mexico A, USA A.
I think if they're both playing at their point, it could go either way. I think that maybe going to penalties last night, maybe we win it because Mexico was able to press. And when you're playing against a Pulisic, a Weston McKennie, a Tyler Adams, a Musa, a Tim Weah, they can get in behind. And the one time, think about it, the one time the U.S. played direct over the top, Alex Freeman headed that ball. If he heads it just a little bit more, he doesn't hit the goalkeeper, the U.S. is up 2-0. Okay, so I think when you go team for team, if the U.S. comes out with the right attitude, not the attitude they had in Leagues Cup, in Nations League, if they come out with the right attitude, Christian's on fire, Tim Weah's on fire, either Pepe or Bulligan is on their game, I think we beat Mexico.
Inside LAFC podcast, live on LAFC YouTube and Facebook, joined by Marcelo Balboa. Questions, comments, complaints. This from Yeskiel. When does LA play Austin? We don't have a date yet. I imagine, I don't know how soon we're going to find out. I don't know if there's a real rush. Maybe you just push it back and see.
It's going to be in October, Max. I think it's going to be in October.
Remember, there's a Toronto FC game already rescheduled in September, so there's not many spots. There is a, I think October 11th. It's an international date. I would hate for LAFC have to get that date because it would be normally a date where they could recharge the team. But my guess is that's where it's going. So no weekends off for LAFC. And remember that because these guys, it's just a packed back into the schedule. Yeah, they have extra games, but they have to win it. Let's go through some of these comments. A lot of people. CONCACAF referees. I don't think it was. I thought that he should have had more whistles, but that's crazy for me to say that. I kind of liked. I think more whistles would have benefited the U.S. the way they were playing, and we didn't really get them. But the game moved at a decent clip, right?
It's a final, man. It's a final. Okay. How's a final supposed to be played? With the referee blowing the whistle every time somebody gets knocked over? Listen, I thought in that regard, he let it get physical. He let them hit each other. He didn't have to call any silly penalty kicks. So overall, man, listen, there were a lot of fouls that he could have called, but he didn't. He gave the advantage and he let them play. That's great. But this is a final, and it's USA-Mexico. It's the biggest, despite what Jesse Marsh says, it's the biggest rivalry in CONCACAF. So you have to let them play.
Soccer USA is asking, why do I always sign up with Placido Domingo? I know it's the name of the opera singer, but our games are usually on Saturday, and Placido Domingo means pleasant Sunday. So that's why I say it. My thing, and I'm sticking with it. The U.S. players didn't play. It was a weird. See, to me, I would have. Mexico should have won it, but they probably should have won it by more than a goal. But with the USA getting that early goal, I thought there was an opportunity. Maybe you bring in a third center back, you play with wing backs. Diego Luna didn't have his best day. He was playing defense, and I thought maybe bring another defender and just get to penalties. Is that crazy?
Let me ask you this. Everybody keeps talking about Diego Luna, and I like the kid. Did he play well against Turkey?
No.
Did he play well against Switzerland?
Nobody played. Don't bring up Switzerland.
Okay, but hold on. Did he play well against Mexico?
No.
Okay.
And Mexico had a game plan and they squeezed him, man.
But what I'm saying to you is in the big games, the 3 big games where this kid needed to show up, he showed up against Guatemala. He showed up against Trinidad. He showed up against the other teams. But the teams, you're not going to be playing Guatemala in a World Cup. You're not going to be playing, you know what I mean? You're not going to be playing Mexico because we're in the same group. So what I'm saying to you, the kid's done nice. He's done well. But let's not put him up here when he's still here. I think we have a tendency to hype all these kids up because they have a great Gold Cup, and then we wonder why they fizzle later. You know what I mean? The kid's young. Let him develop. Let him grow. But he didn't play well when he needed to play well, and that was against Mexico. That was his time to shine. That was his time to put his foot down and say, you know what? I am here. I am real. This is me. And it didn't happen that day. So good kid, great player in MLS, but still needs to take that big step into the big leagues.
The thing with Diego, he's overcome so much, but he's going to have to keep overcoming that. And even like people talk about moving to Europe, someone's saying LAFC, great. He wants to probably go to Europe. The European teams are going to treat him the same way that MLS did and the U.S. men's national team. It's going to be tough love, right? Because of his profile.
He's going to get beat up more in Europe than he's going to get beat up in MLS, okay? Because he's a foreigner trying to take a spot of an English player or a German player or a Spaniard or even a Mexican player in the Mexican. Listen, when I went there, first day of training for me, I got 2-footed from behind and ripped my shoe. The guy studded me and he ripped my copas. Okay. So
still bitter.
That's what it's like. You're not going there. You're going there and you've got to earn your spot. They're not going to treat them very nicely because you're a foreigner taking a spot of one of our comrades. So he's, like I said, good player. He just still has a ways to go.
All right, let's wrap it up here in a big way. Sir Crispy, I was kind of hoping USA would win for the sole purpose of fielding players that wanted to be there. What do you think about that? Not just about the players to be there, but does that inspire the guys that weren't there? Put yourself in their shoes. They're watching the game and seeing these guys. They're not at the same level, but dying on their shields out there by and large.
No, listen, I applaud these kids. I really do, because they put on that shirt and they represented this country very well for the last 3 weeks. Okay. No doubt about it in Gold Cup. But, okay, all this is doing is putting pressure on the guys that didn't come to this, because that next game, I can tell you right now, that next game, everybody's going to expect these young men, Pulisic, Weah, Gio Reyna, you name it, Weston McKennie, but he was playing in the FIFA Club World Cup. They're going to expect the intensity. They're going to expect the mentality of what these kids had. So that next game, when that next window is, I have a funny feeling you're going to see 22 players running their ass off for this country and for that jersey, because they know now what the expectation is. And if they don't live up to it, listen, I don't think Pochettino has any problems cutting anybody on this team and saying, if you can't give me the effort I need, these kids gave it to me. They may not be playing in Europe, but they're playing here. They can play with their mentality. They can run, fight, scratch, and you need that on the field. So I think it was just a wake-up call to some guys saying we need to come in and we need to give a bigger effort. And if we don't, listen, I would say there's not a lot of players that are guaranteed to be on this World Cup team. I think at any point, we saw Jurgen do it to Landon. At any point, I think Pochettino could be like, listen, you're not giving me what I need and what this team needs, then I have to find somebody that will do that for me. So I think before the World Cup comes, you may see a surprise or two on that roster.
And you don't want to be that guy who misses out the World Cup in your backyard because you didn't play this the right way.
Because you didn't give the effort.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to. Give the effort. When you put on that freaking jersey, you give the effort. You walk off the field, you should not feel your legs. You should be dead. You should be in the freaking sauna and the hot tub and icing down. And if you're not, and if you still have something left in the tank, then you don't belong on that team.
I left it all on the field when the staff for LAFC played the LAFC Unified team. We lost 8-1, by the way. But I left it all on the field. I barely walked. Marcelo has been a great guest. People are saying they love you, Cello. I knew they would. One question, LAFC question. One LAFC, sorry, my computer may have dropped there. One LAFC question before we go from Joe. With all these games in hand, we kind of answered this a little bit, but I think we should etch this in stone.
Yeah.
With all these games in hand, does it become a detriment to the squad because they're now 4 games of points behind and the squad will be stressed with so many makeup matches? I know Coach Cherundolo is going to look at it 1 game in a hand, but guys look at the standings and they know it's like it's such a weird. It's 4 games. I mean, when you hear about 1 or 2, 4 is a lot.
Listen, there's 2 sides of this. Is you play a lot of games, that means you don't practice.
They're not. Practice is going to be really
exactly. Their recovery sessions, their jog and stretch, and little 5v2, some soccer, tennis, and then you go right back into another game. So it's sometimes it's beneficial, especially if you're on a run, to not have to train, overthink. You just play, train, play. You know what I mean?
Yeah, maybe a positive. I know when this team gets the proper training, they can shine, but they're going to have to go with their instincts and hopefully get bolstered in the secondary market.
Yep.
Have you ever seen Rapid Man and Marcelo Balboa in the same room? Is that you under that now?
You never will. You never will. And I can't tell you why, but you never will.
You're the man, Cello. Appreciate you joining us to answer so many questions about so many topics. We'll see you in and around the MLS road here very soon.
Thanks for having me, buddy.
Marcelo Balboa joining us here on Inside LAFC Podcast. Get to the game on Wednesday. Get to the game on Saturday. Get to the game on Wednesday early. Get your Hello Kitty plush. Like and subscribe the video and the channel here. We'll be back. Check out all the great LAFC programming out there. We'll be back again, same time, same day, Monday, with Inside LAFC Podcast.